Far beneath the surface of the ocean, hidden below layers of black water and ancient stone, there are places no human has ever reached. Not because we haven't tried, because the earth refuses to let us. The ocean hides entire worlds beneath it. Not just trenches, not just deep water, but flooded cave systems stretching for hundreds of kilometers beneath continents and coastlines. Some are older than human civilization. Some formed before the last ice age. And some may still contain chambers no human eye has ever seen. Underwater caves are among the most dangerous environments on Earth. More dangerous than climbing mountains. More unforgiving than the open ocean. Because once you enter, there is no direct path to the surface. Only tunnels, stone above you, stone below you, and darkness in every direction. If something goes wrong inside an underwater cave, rescue becomes almost impossible. There are no emergency ascents, no shortcuts back to air, only the same narrow passage you entered through. And if you lose that path, the cave keeps you. That reality has haunted cave divers for decades. Because underwater caves do not behave like normal places. They distort distance. Silence becomes heavy. Darkness feels physical. Even experienced divers describe the deeper sections as psychologically overwhelming. At first, caves appear beautiful. Still blue water. Sunlight entering through openings in the rock. Calm surfaces reflecting ancient stone walls. But beauty disappears quickly once you descend. The light fades. Passages narrow. The cave begins swallowing sound. And eventually, there is only blackness. Complete blackness. The kind of darkness humans were never meant to experience. No moonlight. No stars. No glow from the surface. Only whatever light you carry with you. And if that light fails, you become blind instantly. Many divers say that moment is one of the most terrifying experiences imaginable. Because underwater darkness is different from darkness on land. On land, your eyes slowly adjust. Shapes emerge. Outlines appear. Inside deep flooded caves, there is nothing to adjust to. The darkness is absolute. It does not end. And somewhere beyond the reach of modern diving equipment, the cave continues. That unknown is what drives exploration. Humans are naturally drawn toward places that remain untouched. The same instinct that pushed explorers across oceans and astronauts into space now pushes divers beneath the Earth itself. Because underwater caves are one of the last truly unexplored environments left on this planet. Satellites map forests. Drones scan mountains. Even distant planets are photographed from space. But underwater caves remain hidden. Protected by pressure, depth, isolation, and risk. One of the reasons these cave systems are so dangerous is because they are incredibly unstable environments. Passages can collapse without warning. Sediment can turn clear water into blindness within seconds. A single wrong movement of a diver's fin can disturb fine particles resting on the cave floor. Visibility disappears immediately. Divers call this a silt-out. And once it happens, orientation becomes almost impossible. Imagine floating in complete darkness, unable to see your own hands, trying to find a narrow tunnel hundreds of meters away while your oxygen slowly runs out. That is what makes cave diving so feared. Not sea creatures, not monsters, confusion, disorientation, panic. The cave itself becomes the danger. Every experienced cave diver follows strict rules. Always carry multiple lights. Always maintain contact with the guideline. Always monitor oxygen supply. Always know the exit route. Because underwater caves punish mistakes immediately. Even experienced professionals have died inside them. Some became trapped after losing visibility. Others lost their guidelines in complex tunnel systems. Some reached sections too deep for safe return. And some simply vanished, never found again. Because caves can hide bodies forever. There are underwater cave systems so vast they resemble underground labyrinths. The cenotes beneath Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula are among the most famous. At the surface, they appear peaceful. Crystal clear pools surrounded by jungle. Beautiful enough to seem unreal. But beneath them lies one of the largest flooded cave networks on Earth. Hundreds of kilometers of tunnels. Multiple levels. Entire submerged chambers. Some sections are so large they resemble underwater cathedrals. Others narrow into spaces barely wide enough for a diver to pass through. And farther inside, natural light disappears completely. The deeper explorers go, the stranger the environment becomes. Some cave systems contain haloclines, layers where freshwater and saltwater meet. The difference in density bends light in strange ways, distorting vision. Divers describe it as swimming through liquid air. Everything blurs. Lights stretch unnaturally. Even experienced explorers can lose orientation. Inside underwater caves, the human brain begins struggling with isolation. No wind. No sound from the outside world. Only breathing through a regulator echoing inside a helmet. Hours can pass without seeing another human being. No sunlight. No sense of time. Just rock, water, and darkness. That isolation affects people differently. Some divers become calmer, more focused. Others begin experiencing anxiety deep inside cave systems. Because somewhere deep in the human mind is an ancient fear of being trapped underground. And underwater caves combine every version of that fear at once. You are underground, underwater, in darkness, far from the surface, and completely dependent on your equipment. A single mechanical failure can become fatal within minutes. That is why cave diving is considered one of the most technically difficult forms of exploration on Earth. Divers spend years training before attempting advanced cave systems. They learn navigation techniques, emergency protocols, gas management, psychological control. Because panic underwater spreads quickly. The moment breathing speeds up, oxygen disappears faster. Thinking becomes less clear. Small problems become catastrophic. The cave waits for mistakes. Patiently, silently, and still, people continue going deeper. Because caves offer something almost nowhere else can. True discovery. Real unknowns. In recent decades, underwater caves have revealed astonishing discoveries. Ancient human remains preserved for thousands of years. Ice Age animal skeletons. Extinct species. Artifacts from civilizations that existed before sea levels rose. Some caves remained sealed for enormous periods of time, protecting whatever existed inside. They became natural time capsules. In one flooded cave system in Mexico, divers discovered the remains of a teenage girl who lived over 12,000 years ago. Her skeleton remained preserved in darkness for thousands of years, long before the cave flooded. long before modern civilization existed. Discoveries like this transformed how scientists view underwater caves. They are no longer seen as empty flooded tunnels. They are archives of Earth's history, places where ancient environments survived untouched. And researchers believe we have explored only a tiny fraction of them, because many underwater caves remain inaccessible. Some passages become too narrow. Others descend too deeply for human divers. Some continue far beyond mapped areas into total unknown. That mystery has become one of the greatest obsessions in modern exploration. How deep do these cave systems actually go? Where do they end? And what still exists inside them? Some scientists believe there are underwater cave systems beneath the ocean floor that may stretch for hundreds of kilometers. Connected networks hidden beneath continents. Vast chambers beneath the sea. Entire ecosystems isolated for millions of years. And somewhere within those systems, there may still be places no human being has ever entered. Places untouched by light, untouched by sound, untouched by history itself. And the deeper explorers go, the more dangerous the search becomes. The deeper explorers descend into underwater caves, the more the environment begins to change. At first, the water feels familiar, clear, open, almost peaceful. But deep inside flooded cave systems, peace becomes something else. The silence grows heavier. The darkness becomes complete. And the human mind starts realizing just how far away the surface truly is. Inside deep caves, divers rely entirely on artificial light. Without it, there is nothing. No glow from the surface. No distant reflection. No outline of walls. Only blackness stretching endlessly through flooded tunnels. Divers often describe it as floating inside empty space. No horizon. No up or down. Just darkness swallowing everything beyond the reach of a flashlight. And even that small circle of visibility can disappear instantly. Underwater caves are filled with loose sediment. Fine particles resting silently on the cave floor for thousands of years. One careless movement can disturb them. A single misplaced fin kick. One accidental touch. Suddenly, visibility vanishes. The water turns into a cloud of drifting silt. Divers call this condition a whiteout or siltout. And inside a cave, it is one of the most dangerous situations imaginable. Because without visibility, navigation becomes nearly impossible. Guidelines disappear. Tunnel openings vanish. Even another diver a few feet away can become invisible. Panic begins quickly in situations like this. The brain struggles to process total blindness underwater. Breathing becomes faster. Oxygen consumption increases. And time begins working against you. This is why cave divers train constantly for emergencies. Not because equipment always fails. Because eventually something will go wrong. A light may stop working. A regulator may malfunction. A line may snap. And inside underwater caves, even small failures can become fatal. Divers carry multiple backup systems for this reason. Multiple lights, multiple oxygen sources, multiple navigation tools. Because survival depends on redundancy. Everything must have a backup. And even with all that preparation, accidents still happen. One of the deadliest aspects of cave diving is how quickly situations become irreversible. In open water, divers can often ascend directly to safety. Inside caves, ascent is impossible. The only exit is behind you, sometimes hundreds or even thousands of meters away. That changes the psychology completely. Every meter deeper into a cave is another meter farther from survival. Some underwater cave systems are so long that divers require multiple oxygen tanks staged throughout the route. Hours of decompression planning. Careful gas calculations. One mistake in those calculations can trap a diver deep underground with no breathable air left. And then there is the pressure. As divers descend deeper, pressure increases dramatically. The human body reacts in dangerous ways. Nitrogen narcosis begins affecting judgment. At depth, nitrogen dissolved in the bloodstream can create symptoms similar to intoxication. Slow thinking, poor decisions, delayed reactions. Divers sometimes describe it as feeling dreamlike. And inside underwater caves, confusion is deadly. Even more dangerous is oxygen toxicity. At certain depths, oxygen itself becomes poisonous under pressure. Convulsions can occur without warning. A diver losing consciousness inside a cave has almost no chance of survival. This is why deep cave diving requires extremely specialized breathing mixtures. Dry mix, helium blends, carefully calculated gases designed to reduce the effects of pressure. Because normal air becomes increasingly dangerous the deeper you go. Yet despite all these risks, exploration continues. Because every new tunnel may lead somewhere no human being has ever seen before. Some caves descend to astonishing depths. One of the most mysterious is Hranice Abyss in the Czech Republic. At first glance, it doesn't look extraordinary. Just a quiet lake surrounded by rock. But beneath the surface lies one of the deepest flooded cave systems on Earth. Divers explored deeper and deeper over the years. Past 100 meters, then 200, then 300. And still, the cave continued downward. Eventually, remotely operated robots were sent deeper than humans could safely go. They descended into darkness, carrying lights and cameras. The cave walls narrowed. Visibility worsened. Pressure intensified. And then, the robots reached depths beyond 400 meters, still without finding the bottom. Even now, scientists do not know exactly how deep Hranice Abyss truly is. Think about that for a moment. A cave on Earth with no confirmed end. A flooded abyss descending so deep underground that modern exploration technology still cannot fully map it. And there may be others like it. Far beneath the ocean floor. Far beneath coastlines. Hidden systems extending through ancient rock layers. Some researchers believe underwater cave systems could connect across enormous distances. Networks hidden entirely underground. The Earth beneath us may be far more hollow and interconnected than we once imagined. And underwater caves are beginning to reveal those hidden structures. But every discovery comes with enormous risk. Some divers become obsessed with pushing farther, deeper, longer, searching for unexplored passages. Many of the greatest cave divers in history described the same feeling. A pull toward the unknown. Because underwater caves still offer something incredibly rare in the modern world. Real mystery. No satellite images. No complete maps. No guarantees. Just darkness and possibility. That mystery has claimed lives. Throughout history, many divers have disappeared inside underwater cave systems. Some became trapped after cave collapses. Others lost visibility and could not relocate exit lines. Some suffered equipment failures too deep inside tunnels to recover. And some simply vanished. Their bodies never found. Because caves can keep secrets forever. In Florida, Mexico, and other regions famous for cave systems, memorial markers exist for lost divers. Small reminders carved into stone. Warnings from those who never returned. Experienced divers often repeat the same phrase before entering dangerous systems. The cave is always there tomorrow. Because survival in cave diving depends on restraint. Knowing when to turn back. Knowing when the risk becomes too great. But not everyone turns back. Some continue deeper. And the farther they go, the stranger underwater caves become. Certain flooded cave systems contain chambers so massive they resemble underground oceans. Ceilings towering above divers beyond the reach of light. Rock formations untouched for hundreds of thousands of years. Crystal formations growing slowly in complete darkness. Entire hidden landscapes beneath the earth. Some chambers contain air pockets trapped underground. Ancient atmospheres sealed away for thousands of years. Others contain water chemistry so unusual it supports unique microbial life forms. Life adapted entirely to darkness and isolation. Scientists have discovered fish species inside underwater caves that evolved without eyes. Creatures that no longer need vision because no light exists in their environment. Transparent organisms. Pale skin. Bodies shaped entirely by isolation. Evolution taking a completely different path underground. And perhaps the most unsettling realization is this. There may still be species inside underwater caves we have never discovered. Creatures isolated for millions of years. Living in environments humans have never reached. Because some sections remain impossible to access. Too deep. Too narrow. Too dangerous. Modern robots continue improving every year. Smaller drones. Advanced mapping systems. Autonomous underwater exploration vehicles. But even technology struggles inside complex cave systems. Signals fail underground. Navigation becomes difficult. Tunnels branch unpredictably. And eventually, the darkness wins again. Because underwater caves remain one of the few environments on Earth that humans still cannot fully control. And maybe that is what makes them so fascinating. The realization that even now, beneath the oceans, beneath the continents, there are still places beyond human reach. Still hidden, still waiting beneath the earth. Underwater caves continue pulling explorers deeper into darkness. Because once divers realize how much remains undiscovered, it becomes difficult to stop thinking about what might exist farther ahead. Beyond the last mapped tunnel. Beyond the final guideline. Beyond the point where human beings usually turn back. Somewhere in that darkness, entire chambers may still remain untouched. And history has shown that underwater caves are capable of hiding astonishing things. In many cave systems around the world, scientists have discovered remains preserved with extraordinary detail. Ancient animals, human skeletons, tools, artifacts, even evidence of prehistoric environments long erased from the surface world. This happens because caves protect what enters them, especially flooded caves. Once underwater chambers become isolated from outside conditions, they change very slowly. No sunlight, very little movement, stable temperatures, minimal disturbance. In some places, bones remained untouched for tens of thousands of years. One of the most extraordinary discoveries occurred in the cave systems beneath Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. Divers exploring flooded tunnels discovered human remains dating back to the Ice Age. The skeletons belonged to people who entered the caves long before sea levels rose and flooded the passages. Back then, these cave systems were dry, dark, dangerous, but accessible. Somewhere inside those caves, ancient humans became trapped. And when the oceans rose thousands of years later, the caves filled with water, preserving their remains in darkness, perfectly hidden from the modern world, until divers found them. These discoveries transformed underwater cave research. Suddenly, caves became more than geological structures. They became time capsules, records of ancient Earth preserved beneath water and stone. And scientists began realizing just how much history might still be hidden underground. Some caves preserved traces of extinct animals, massive ice age predators, ancient giant sloths, saber-toothed cats, creatures that vanished from the surface long ago. Their bones remained undisturbed beneath flooded chambers for thousands of years, waiting in silence. But caves do not only preserve the past, they also create entirely new ecosystems. In complete darkness, life evolves differently. Without sunlight, normal food chains collapse. Plants cannot grow. Photosynthesis becomes impossible. Yet somehow, life still survives. Deep inside isolated cave systems, researchers discovered bacteria living entirely off chemicals dissolved in rock and water. No sunlight required. These microorganisms survive using chemosynthesis, a process similar to what scientists discovered near deep ocean hydrothermal vents. Energy produced not from sunlight, but from chemistry itself. That discovery changed how scientists think about life. Because if organisms can survive underground without sunlight on Earth, then perhaps life could exist in similar environments elsewhere. Beneath the ice of Europa, inside underground oceans on distant moons, in places once considered impossible for life. Underwater caves may help answer questions far larger than Earth itself. And still, they remain incredibly dangerous to explore. One reason is because underwater caves are constantly changing. Passages collapse, flooding patterns shift, currents change direction. A tunnel safe one year may become deadly the next. Some cave systems contain restrictions, extremely narrow sections where divers must remove equipment just to squeeze through. Imagine crawling through flooded rock passages in complete darkness with oxygen tanks attached to your body, stone pressing inches from your face. No room to turn around. No direct path upward. Only forward or backward. Divers call sections like these restrictions for a reason. They restrict movement completely. And if panic begins inside them, survival chances drop rapidly. Some explorers spend years preparing for advanced cave systems, not only physically, mentally, because underwater caves test psychological endurance in extreme ways. Long periods of isolation, claustrophobic spaces, sensory deprivation, absolute darkness. The deeper divers go, the more important mental control becomes. Many experienced cave divers say the real challenge is not the environment itself. It's controlling your own mind inside it. Fear underwater behaves differently. It spreads quickly, quietly. Once panic begins, breathing accelerates. Heart rate rises. Decision-making deteriorates. And deep inside flooded caves, there is very little time to recover from bad decisions. That's why some divers turn back even when conditions appear stable. Because intuition matters underground. Experienced explorers learn to recognize subtle signs of danger. Water movement changing unexpectedly. Visibility worsening. Equipment behaving strangely. The cave itself often gives warnings before something goes wrong. But not everyone notices them. Some of the most tragic cave diving accidents happened because divers pushed deeper than conditions allowed. Overconfidence becomes deadly underground. The cave does not care how experienced you are. It does not care how many dives you completed before. One mistake is enough. And yet, despite all the danger, underwater cave exploration continues advancing every year. Because humans are naturally drawn toward hidden worlds, especially worlds that still resist understanding. Modern technology has allowed divers to reach places once thought impossible. Rebreathers recycle exhaled air, extending dive times dramatically. Advanced underwater scooters help explorers travel farther into cave systems. High-resolution sonar scanners create detailed underground maps. Tiny robotic drones now enter tunnels too dangerous for humans. And still, some places remain inaccessible. Some cave systems continue beyond the limits of modern exploration. Deep beneath the Bahamas, blue holes descend into underwater cave networks scientists still barely understand. Along coastlines around the world, sonar scans reveal hidden chambers beneath the seafloor. In Antarctica, researchers suspect enormous flooded cave systems may exist beneath glaciers and ice shelves. Completely isolated, completely dark, potentially untouched for millions of years. Imagine what could survive in places like that. Creatures evolving in total isolation. Life forms adapted to environments no human has ever entered. Scientists already discovered blind fish, translucent crustaceans, and strange microbial ecosystems inside known cave systems. What exists inside the unknown ones? That question continues driving exploration forward. But underwater caves are not just scientifically important. They affect people emotionally. Even experienced explorers often describe feeling something strange inside deep caves. Not fear exactly. Something older. A feeling of entering a place humans were never meant to inhabit. The silence contributes to it. Inside flooded caves, sound behaves differently. Breathing echoes loudly inside helmets. Tiny movements become amplified. And outside that, almost nothing. No birds. No wind. No distant human noise. Only water moving slowly through rock. Some divers describe it as entering another world entirely. Because underground caves remove nearly every familiar reference point humans rely on psychologically. No sky, no horizon, no sunlight, no weather, only darkness and stone. The environment begins feeling timeless, ancient, completely disconnected from normal life. And maybe that is part of what makes underwater caves so fascinating. They remind us how little control humans actually have over the planet. For all our technology, there are still places beneath our feet we barely understand. Still places too dangerous to fully explore. Still places where darkness continues uninterrupted for millions of years. And somewhere beneath the ocean right now, water is still moving through tunnels no human being has ever seen. Water is still moving through tunnels no human being has ever seen. Deep beneath coastlines, beneath islands, beneath entire oceans, hidden cave systems continue forming in darkness exactly as they have for millions of years. Silent rivers carve through limestone. Pressure opens new fractures in the rock. Entire chambers collapse and reform over geological time. The Earth is still changing underground. Even now, and in many places, humans have only seen the entrance. Nothing more. That realization becomes unsettling when you understand how enormous some underwater cave systems truly are. Many stretch for hundreds of kilometers. Some descend deeper than skyscrapers are tall. Others branch endlessly through networks too complex to fully map. In some caves, explorers reached intersections where tunnels continued in multiple directions, each disappearing into darkness beyond the range of their lights. Imagine standing in complete blackness underwater, realizing the cave around you continues farther than anyone has ever explored. No map, no certainty, only unknown space. For some divers, that feeling is irresistible. For others, terrifying. Because underwater caves force humans to confront something modern life rarely allows. The unknown. Real unknown. Not mystery in books or movies. Actual unexplored environments where no one can tell you what exists farther ahead. There may be nothing. Or there may be chambers larger than cathedrals hidden beneath the earth. That uncertainty changes people. Many cave divers describe becoming obsessed after their first deep cave experience. Not with danger itself, with discovery. Because very few places on Earth still allow humans to feel like true explorers. Underwater caves do. Every unexplored passage becomes a question. Every dark tunnel becomes possibility. And sometimes, those possibilities become astonishing. In 2001, divers exploring underwater caves near the Yucatan Peninsula discovered evidence that transformed scientific understanding of ancient climate history. Inside hidden chambers, they found mineral formations that only develop in dry air environments. Stalactites, stone formations hanging from cave ceilings. But these formations were now completely underwater, which meant the caves had once been dry. That evidence helped scientists reconstruct ancient sea level changes dating back thousands of years. The caves became records of Earth's climate history, natural archives hidden beneath the ocean. Other cave systems revealed even stranger discoveries. Entire bacterial ecosystems surviving in toxic water chemistry. Microorganisms feeding on sulfur and minerals in complete darkness. Creatures existing independently from sunlight. Researchers realized that cave systems may resemble environments from early Earth itself. Ancient biological systems surviving underground long after surface conditions changed. Some scientists believe underwater caves may contain organisms unlike anything currently known. Life forms isolated so long they evolved independently from surrounding ecosystems. And because many caves remain unreachable, those possibilities remain open. That thought fascinates biologists, but it also fascinates something else inside the human mind. The desire to find hidden worlds. Civilizations throughout history imagined underground realms beneath the earth. Ancient myths described entrances to hidden worlds through caves and deep water. Stories of forgotten places beneath mountains and oceans appear in cultures across the planet. And perhaps that isn't surprising, because caves trigger something ancient in human psychology. A mixture of fear and curiosity. The instinct to enter darkness while simultaneously fearing what might exist inside it. Underwater caves amplify that instinct dramatically. Because unlike dry caves, there is no walking away quickly, no easy escape. You are completely dependent on equipment, planning, and calm decision-making. And the environment constantly reminds you of that. The deeper explorers go, the more isolated they become from the surface world. In some advanced cave dives, explorers spend hours underground before even reaching unexplored territory. Long periods of swimming through narrow, flooded passages, following guide lines through total darkness, monitoring oxygen carefully, maintaining exact depth profiles. Then finally, the known map ends. Everything beyond that point becomes uncertainty. Some explorers describe the moment they cross beyond mapped sections as surreal. Ahead of them lies space no human being has ever entered. The lights reveal stone walls for the first time in history. Sediment untouched for thousands or even millions of years. Water moving through passages that existed long before human civilization. That realization can feel overwhelming, because the environment suddenly becomes larger than exploration itself. It becomes geological time. Ancient Earth continuing quietly beneath modern civilization. And caves are incredibly old. Some underwater cave systems formed millions of years ago, long before humans existed, long before modern oceans looked the way they do now. Over time, sea levels changed. Ice ages came and went. Continents shifted slowly, and caves adapted with them. Flooding, draining, expanding, collapsing. The result is a hidden underground world still evolving today. And despite technological advances, humans remain fragile inside it. Many underwater caves continue beyond safe diving limits. Depth becomes one major barrier. The deeper divers descend, the more complex decompression becomes. A diver exploring deep underwater caves may require hours of decompression stops before safely returning to the surface. Ascending too quickly can cause decompression sickness. Nitrogen bubbles forming in the bloodstream. Joint pain, paralysis, death. Deep cave diving pushes the human body close to its limits. At extreme depths, helium-based breathing mixtures become necessary. Even then, exposure times remain limited. Eventually, pressure becomes too dangerous for direct human exploration. That is where robotics become essential. Modern underwater drones, equipped with cameras and sonar, now enter cave systems beyond human range. Some are small enough to navigate narrow restrictions. Others carry advanced mapping equipment capable of building detailed three-dimensional cave models. But robotics have limits too. Signals weaken underground. Navigation systems struggle without GPS. Tunnels become too narrow or unstable. And sometimes, the cave simply continues farther than the robot can go. That is exactly what happened in several deep cave explorations around the world. Robots descended farther than any human could safely reach, and still failed to find the end. Imagine that. Machines specifically designed for extreme exploration entering underwater darkness, and still running out of range before reaching the bottom. It changes the way you think about the planet. Because beneath the surface world people know, there are still hidden systems extending into complete darkness. Unmapped, unexplored, possibly enormous. And somewhere within those hidden places, life continues. Blind fish drift through flooded tunnels. Microorganisms feed on chemical reactions in stone. Ancient water moves slowly through underground passages. Entire ecosystems surviving without sunlight, without weather, without human presence. The earth beneath us is far more alive than most people realize. And underwater caves may be among the strangest environments on the planet. Not because of monsters, not because of myths, because they are real. Real places where human exploration still reaches its limits. Real places where darkness still wins. And perhaps that is what makes them unforgettable. Because in a world mapped by satellites and connected by technology, underwater caves remain one of the last true frontiers. Underwater caves remain one of the last true frontiers on Earth because they continue resisting complete exploration. No matter how advanced technology becomes, the darkness underground always seems to extend farther. Another tunnel, another flooded chamber, another unexplored descent beneath the Earth. And somewhere out there, scientists believe there are underwater cave systems humans have not even discovered yet. Entire hidden worlds beneath the ocean floor. Because most of the planet's underwater regions remain poorly explored, especially near deep coastal shelves, volcanic islands, polar regions, and remote ocean systems. There may be flooded cave networks beneath Antarctica's ice sheets, massive underground chambers beneath volcanic seafloors, ancient tunnels beneath islands formed millions of years ago. And in many cases, we would never know they existed unless an entrance was discovered by accident. That has happened before. Some underwater cave systems were found only because fishermen noticed strange holes in the ocean floor. Others were discovered after collapses opened hidden entrances. And some were revealed when divers followed currents moving through narrow openings in rock. Because caves breathe. Water moves through them constantly. Cold water, warm water, fresh water, salt water, entire underground rivers flowing invisibly beneath the earth. Even now, somewhere beneath the oceans, water is carving new passages through stone. Slowly, patiently, relentlessly. Given enough time, the earth reshapes itself underground. And humans remain temporary visitors in that process. Perhaps that is why underwater caves feel so different from other environments. They do not feel designed for us. The deeper you go, the more obvious that becomes. The spaces narrow. The pressure increases. Darkness intensifies. The environment strips away every illusion of control. Eventually, survival depends entirely on discipline. Breathing slowly, thinking clearly, trusting equipment, following guide lines precisely. Because underground, there is no room for error. That reality has earned underwater caves a reputation among divers. Many consider advanced cave diving more dangerous than climbing Everest. More dangerous than deep ocean diving. More dangerous than skydiving. Because caves combine multiple extreme risks at once. Depth, isolation, claustrophobia, pressure, darkness, and complete dependence on equipment. Yet for many explorers, the danger is not the reason they continue. It is the mystery, the feeling that somewhere beyond the next passage, something unknown still waits. That possibility has driven some of the greatest exploration missions in modern history. Divers spent years mapping certain cave systems meter by meter, sometimes progressing only a few hundred meters at a time. Hours of preparation for brief moments inside unexplored tunnels. Because every dive into a cave system is expensive, complex, physically exhausting, and mentally draining. But occasionally, explorers emerge with discoveries no one expected. New chambers, new species, new geological formations, entire hidden sections of the Earth revealed for the first time. Those moments make the risk feel worth it, at least for the people drawn toward exploration. And perhaps the most extraordinary part of underwater cave exploration is this. Many discoveries are still waiting. Not hypothetically, literally waiting. Scientists openly admit that much of the underground underwater world remains unknown. There are regions where sonar scans hint at massive hidden structures beneath the seafloor. There are cave systems that abruptly stop on maps simply because explorers reached the limit of current technology. There are underwater tunnels so deep and narrow that no human diver can safely continue. And there are likely places where no artificial light has ever entered. Think about that. On a planet with billions of people, satellites orbiting overhead, and technology capable of reaching space, there are still places on Earth untouched by human sight. Completely dark, completely silent, completely unknown. That realization changes how we think about exploration. For centuries, people believed the age of discovery was ending, that maps were complete, that every frontier had already been crossed. But underwater caves prove otherwise. Real unknowns still exist, not on distant planets, here, beneath the ocean. And perhaps that mystery matters more than people realize, because mystery changes the way humans see the world. It reminds us that nature is larger than our understanding, that despite science and technology, there are still environments capable of surprising us, still places where answers do not exist yet. Underwater caves represent that perfectly. They are environments where modern exploration meets ancient Earth, where advanced robotics enter tunnels formed millions of years ago, where divers carrying cutting-edge equipment swim through darkness untouched since prehistoric times, where the future of exploration collides directly with the oldest parts of the planet. And the deeper humans go, the stranger those environments become. Some cave systems contain water chemistry unlike anything found on the surface. Others hold microorganisms surviving in conditions once believed impossible for life. Some flooded chambers may contain clues about Earth's climate history stretching back hundreds of thousands of years. And others may contain nothing at all. Just silence, stone, and endless darkness. Yet even that emptiness feels important, because underwater caves force people to confront something modern civilization often hides: how small humans really are. Inside deep flooded caves, technology helps, training helps, experience helps, but ultimately the environment remains stronger. The cave decides what is possible, not the diver. And maybe that is why underwater caves leave such a powerful impression on explorers who survive them. Many describe emerging from deep cave dives feeling permanently changed, not because they saw monsters or supernatural things, because they experienced true isolation, true darkness, true vulnerability. For a few hours, they entered a world completely indifferent to human existence. A world that existed long before civilization and will continue long after it. That realization stays with people. And perhaps it should, because the hidden underground oceans beneath our planet are still there right now. Still moving, still changing, still waiting beyond the reach of light. Somewhere beneath the ocean floor, there may be chambers larger than anything humans have discovered. There may be ecosystems no scientist has studied. species no camera has recorded, passages no diver has entered. And maybe one day, technology will finally reach them. Maybe robotic explorers will descend farther into the darkness than ever before. Maybe new entrances will be discovered. Maybe entire hidden cave systems will emerge beneath regions of ocean we barely understand today. But even then, the Earth will probably keep some secrets, some darkness, some unknown places untouched. And perhaps that is a good thing, because as long as places like underwater caves exist, the spirit of exploration survives. The feeling that somewhere beyond the map, something extraordinary is still waiting in the dark.